Based on current data, President Trump has got the most votes of any sitting president seeking re-election. He also broke the record set by former President Barack Obama in 2008 for the most number of votes received by any presidential candidate.
President Trump's 73 million votes record is a whopping 10 million more than he got in his last bid for presidency, based on current data. The president made significant gains with all racial groups, performing particularly well among minority voters. According to the Edison Research exit poll from the 2016 general election, just 8% of black American voters chose Trump over Clinton. The same Edison Research exit poll this year shows that black Trump voters have grown to 12%, a 50% increase. For both black men and women, there are significant jumps. 19% of black men voted for Trump in 2020 versus 13% in 2016. Just 4% of black women chose Trump over Hillary Clinton in 2016, but that figure has more than doubled to 9% this year. Among America's 40 predominantly black counties, Trump received 8% more votes than he did 4 years ago. Trump's performance among Hispanic voters in key battleground states is even more outstanding. According to the New York Times analysis based on the National Election Pool by Edison Research, Trump's votes in the nation's 47 counties with a Hispanic majority went up by 37% from 2016 to 2020. In America's 32 large counties with a majority-minority population, Trump received 30% more votes this election than he did in 2016. One of the biggest jumps in votes for President Trump was in Miami-Dade County of Florida, where at least 200,000 more people voted for Trump compared to 4 years ago. That county is home to a significant population of Cuban Americans, many of whom resonate with the president's tough stance on socialism and the communist Cuban regime. Trump's votes in Florida went up from 49% in 2016 to 51.2% in 2020, doubling his win margin. Trump's growing popularity among Hispanic voters is similarly significant in southern Texas, in traditionally Democrat counties bordering Mexico. Zapata County, for example, where nearly 95% of the population is Hispanic, voted for Trump by 52% to 47% over Biden, although the county voted for Hillary Clinton over Trump by 65% to 32% back in 2016. Among Asian Americans, Trump voters have also grown noticeably, from 27% in 2016 to 34% this year. Trump's anti-communist message has also resonated with many immigrant communities that have suffered under communist regimes in Asia. All in all, 26% of non-white voters this year cast their ballots for President Trump, a growth from 21% in 2016. The president has certainly expanded his base.
Now ask yourself, who is left to vote for anyone else? It seemed like the whole entire world voted for Trump. That's just what it seems like. However, somehow, Biden got all these people voting for him, and he was never even running for president before 2020. Trump's base increased in all areas since 2016. However, Biden jumps up on the stage 1 or 2 times, and there's all these ballots flying in for him and all this votes and all these numbers coming in for him. And we all know where they're coming from. Right? Paid radical activists and dead people. And in other parts, people that don't exist. I don't know if anybody thinks for 1 second that Biden won anything in this election is pretty much out of their mind or hiding in their basement. I admit that in some cases this doesn't look good as far as like all this legal case thing going on. It's just so much going on, and then you have to look at it like, are these courts going to care about the evidence? Or are they going to look at it politically and say, well, we bend the knee to the Democrats? That's really what it comes down to, and that's what it looks like. It's like they're just bending the knee to Democrats because, Obama and the Clintons put most of them in their seats as it is. So, you You got to look at judges that were appointed by Democrats, in the Bushes and the Clintons. What kind of decision do you expect them to make, right? Regardless of the evidence, because there was courts that was throwing out evidence that wasn't even presented yet. Like, how can you throw out evidence that wasn't on the table yet? You just simply heard that this evidence existed and you didn't want it on the table, so you just threw it out like, nah, 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 nah. But yeah, man, I just feel like regardless of who you vote for, if anybody voted for Biden at all, like actually went and voted, then you should want to know that you won an election, not stole it, regardless of your agenda or your ideologies and how you want people to believe what you believe. But it comes down to, did you win? And also, like I said before, if you're going to decide on just who wins, who you want to win, regardless of, the fraud, and the evidence behind how they did it. Regardless of that, if it's regardless of that, then what are you going to do when you get your ass kicked by the same candidate you voted for, right? And then next time around, you want to jump off that boat. All right, you want to jump off that boat now. But guess what? They're doing the same thing they did when you voted for them, to keep you on that boat. So basically, you trying to get off that boat is pointless because they're going to try and make sure that there's no other boat for you to jump onto. It's something you need to think about. And think about it really hard. At the end of the day, no matter how much you hate the country you live in, and you vote for these radical communists, these socialists, you're not safe. You're not safe. Because regardless of what it is, you have to live here too. I know that most people, that this is not going to affect people that don't work, and don't pay taxes and don't own a home, don't own anything, they live in basements rent free, and they have nothing else to do in their life but sit on Twitter and Facebook. And of course, you'll never see the world going on around you, But yeah, at the end of the day, you have to understand that these people that are trying to open your eyes, that come from these communist countries, that run from the communist countries to come here, and when they see it happening here, and they're trying to tell you what's about to happen in your country, and you're like, yeah, conspiracy, yeah, conspiracy. They're trying to tell you something. See all those people running from Mexico, jumping over borders and gates and shit, and alligators and crocodiles. Like, you have no idea. Because guess what? The same way they're running, at some point, you're going to be doing the same thing. But the question is, where are you going to run to? When this country is like China, Korea, or Mexico, and Venezuela, right? What borders are you going to run and jump over? Where are you going to go? Because you people out here hate America so much, right? And all you do is run around talking about racist this, racist that, and bigots and all this fascist shit. Because only Democrats speak those words. Okay? And everybody that doesn't believe or bend the knee to your ideologies are racist or fascist or something nonsense. All right. Meanwhile, you've been brainwashed and mind fucked to jump on the side that's enslaved your people and voted against ending slavery, voted against abolishing slavery, which are the Democrats. The Democrats are the party of slavery. The Democrats are the party of the KKK. The Republicans are the party for freedom, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, abolish slavery, rights to vote, civil rights movement. Anybody know what the hell the civil rights movement was? Do you know that the black people, our ancestors, were the Republican Party? You do know that, right? Because the thing is, when you ask a Republican, why are they Republican? I say this many times, they give you a history lesson, right? They give you a history lesson on why they vote Republican. The history of the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. Because it's two and two. It's not just, oh, I just want to be Republican because of this. No, there's a particular reason the Republican Party was formed. Because of the Democratic Party. Someone had to fight against the tyrants. And who else other than the Republican Party that was formed to do that? Which was our ancestors, the Black Republican Party. So, and what do we see now with these riots and all this and fear mongering, trying to scare people into voting for Biden and not Trump, or your house will be burned? And that's the same thing they did when the Republican Party was formed to fight against Democrats and their tyranny. What happened when the Republicans went to vote? They were lynched. They were shot, lynched, houses burned, chased off the street, chased out of the polls by the radical Democrat KKK soldiers. Until it got to the point where if you don't vote Democrat, you'll be lynched. That's pretty much how that you turn a Republican into a Democrat. You burn all their shit, right? You burn all their shit, burn their houses, cars, right? Beat them up at their own rallies. And then what happens? They feel like, oh, well, in order for it to stop, we have to vote Democrat now. And then you get indoctrinated and brainwashed by this Democratic Party to vote to vote Democrat from Republican, or be lynched. The same thing going on right now with all this going on in the street, with their little KKK mob running around, burning people's cars, houses, storefronts, bashing in windows. The only thing they're not doing is throwing up those KKKs. They're under the disguise of Black Lives Matters and the disguise of Antifa. All fighting for the Democratic Party. And to keep Republicans from voting Republican. But that's the party that I don't even care about other people. Let's just talk about the black community when it comes to voting for people who enslaved you, or just say enslaved your ancestors, lynched, killed, raped. In 2020, if there are people who still don't know that, That's scary to me. That's seriously scary to me that if there's people in 2020 right now, and we're going to 2021, right, that do not know the simple political history of these two parties. That's why we're going through what we're going through now. That's why the Democrats think that they can do whatever they want. Oh, we're just going to shut the country down and close people's businesses. Because why? People have been brainwashed to the point that they will bend the knee to that kind of tyranny. Trust me, we have the power to decide. Nah, I'm not going to do that. I'd rather keep my business over and make some money and pay my bills and support my family. You have the right to do that. Because at the end of the day, you got all these stores out here. I'm pretty sure every 9 out of 10 stores on every street corner, maybe even all of them, have, guns and either gun licenses and guns in their stores to protect their businesses, right? Let's just do this small math right here really quick. You got all these guns in all these stores, right? To protect their business. From you what? Stealing a soda? But an entity that you've never seen before can tell you, close your business, you will not be able to make any money. You won't even be able to sell the products that you're trying to protect from being stolen. Close your business down. It may not be able to be recovered, and have a good day. But you bend the knee to that kind of tyranny. You bend the knee to that. You don't take a stand at all for that. But you're okay defending your store against someone trying to, steal a bag of chips, a soda, or something like that. You're ready to just jump out of pocket. You come out of left, right field with bazookas if you have to catch someone stealing a soda from your store. I don't know, man. I just know that we need to put together our own groups, our own parties, and stand as a unit. So when the tyranny comes, we have our own armies to deal with it. Because bending your knee to tyranny, that's never going to change anything. Waiting around hoping that things will change. I mean, look, man. You look at all these numbers that the Democrats, because that's the only ones who talk about this COVID shit, are Democrats, right? The Democrats constantly keep you in fear because every 5 minutes, COVID. Meanwhile, the funny thing is that all of these people that even breathe this bullcrap actually live in the cities that they claim that there's all this COVID thing going on. Now, most people who can recognize bullcrap when they hear it are New Yorkers. However, this election has shown that most of New York are pretty much mindless gimps, like lemmings, right? And it's unfortunate because New York has become a blue state slum. I mean, it's been a blue state slum for over 20 plus years, but you can see through this election and how it's going and the kind of people who are flocking around the buffoonery. You would think that they were smarter than that, because these are grown ass people. Like, this isn't, 16, 17-year-olds that are trying to speak knowledge to other people. These are grown ass people, 30 years old, 40 years old, trying to educate other people on this political arena, but with nonsense. It's crazy to have a 50-year-old trying to tell you that, Biden's the truth, Biden's the truth, and, what? Wait, what? Democrats, and Trump's a racist, and wait, hold up. What? Who probed your brain with the bullshit? Yeah, there's some people that's too old and too stupid at this point to even, one, pay attention to, or even let them speak to it. Like, these people are so stupid that when they talk, you have to just jump in really quick before the bull crap spews and it travels too far. At this point, it's too much, man. I don't even know. I don't even want to go on any longer, man, because it's just getting me sick in my stomach thinking about where we are as a people. But stay up, people. Stay up.